Hello everyone and welcome to Chinese Stocks channel 中国股票频道. I'm Michael and in this video I'd like to talk with you about another very exciting Chinese company that I think is very worth having a look at. For the last few months, many millennials are waiting anxiously to see if the rumors about Robinhood IPO are going to become a reality. For those of you who don't know Robinhood, it's an online brokerage platform that became very popular in the USA due to its transaction-free policy and currently has more than 13 million users. The rumors about Robinhood filing IPO in the coming months brought a lot of excitement and anticipation, but the IPO date is still unclear. So meanwhile waiting for Robinhood's IPO, let me introduce you to one of the leading brokerage companies in Asia, a company that saw an incredible growth in the last year and is making waves in the Nasdaq, the Robinhood of China, the Robinhood of the Far East. Today's video is about FUTU Holdings. Before we start, I'd be more than happy if you hit the like button and subscribe. It helps the YouTube algorithm and will make it easier for me to release more content about Chinese companies and their stocks. So FUTU Holdings had an amazing year so far with a sharp increase in the number of users and revenues. The stock saw an uptake from its March lows of $8.16 a share all the way to $41 a share in early August, representing more than 500% growth. The stock saw a moderate decline since and is today traded at around $30 a share, which are still more than 400% increase from its March lows. Many investors would assume it's a crazy move to invest in a stock that saw such an exponential growth in such a short period of time. But the numbers presented by FUTU's earnings reports and future cooperation with Chinese well-known companies might project a much bigger future growth potential. In this video, I will give you an intro to this fast-growing company and their business model, try to examine its future potential and see if this is the right timing to invest in FUTU Holdings. Founded in 2007, FUTU Holdings became one of the fastest growing online brokerage service and wealth management companies in Asia, with more than 9.3 million users, up more than 52% year over year. The number of paying clients passed the 300,000 with more than 100,000 new paying clients during the last 2 quarters alone. This addition of 100,000 clients exceeded the company's full year guideline for 2020, and as a result, FUTU lifted their yearly guidance to 280,000 new paying clients by the end of the year, which translates into 141% year-over-year growth. FUTU provides investing services through 2 digital platforms. The FUTU Niuniu, also called FUTU Bull, directed at the Chinese market, and Mumu, which is directed at the American market. The platforms are accessible through any mobile device, tablet, or desktop. Those platforms enable users, and mainly mainland Chinese citizens, to buy and sell Hong Kong and US listed shares as well as domestic listed A-class Chinese shares. FUTU's primary fee generating services include trade execution and merchant financing, which allow their clients to trade securities such as stocks, warrants, options, and ETFs. They enhance their user and client experience with real-time market data and news, research, analytical tools, and more. FUTU also built an in-app interactive investor community where users and clients can exchange investment views, watch live broadcasts of corporate events, share YouTube videos, and participate in investment education courses offered on the platform. The social network serves as a powerful engagement tool. As per December 2019, FUTU Niuniu platform had more than 208,000 daily users, spending an average of 24.5 minutes per day trading. So FUTU aims to transform people's investing experience by offering a fully digitized brokerage and wealth management platform, but the mission is an incredibly challenging one when it comes to China. China's strict money and capital control makes overseas investing and money transferring very challenging. As of today, Chinese citizens cannot invest in foreign securities and stocks through mainland Chinese banks and must use a middle brokerage company. While it is possible for any Chinese citizen to use the FUTU platform in order to invest overseas, the process is relatively long and complicated, requiring the opening of a bank account in Hong Kong or another overseas territory. Being so, FUTU is currently primarily serving the emerging Chinese population who already have foreign bank accounts. While the vision that 1.4 billion Chinese citizens can invest in overseas markets in a matter of a click is a bit far away, we shouldn't forget that after years of economy development and accumulation of wealth, the wealth owned by Chinese people overseas is already huge. A McKinsey report published at the end of 2018 suggested that around 10% of the wealth of China's high net worth individuals is kept outside China. The report expected private wealth of Chinese citizens to reach around $23 trillion by 2021. So who are the FUTU users? FUTU describes its client base as a relatively young one, with the average client being 36 years old and generally high earning. On average, a client who traded in 2019 executed over 167 trades with a total trading volume of around 700,000 US dollars. As per the second quarter of 2020, total trading volume in FUTU platforms reached an historic high of $83 billion, representing more than 200% year-over-year growth. US stock trading volume was more than $55 billion, which accounted for more than 2/3 of FUTU's total trading volume. In the second quarter earnings report, the chairman and CEO of FUTU said that the subscription for JD.com and NetEase's Hong Kong IPOs both exceeded 15 billion Hong Kong dollars, which are around 2 billion US dollars. They believe, he said, that the surge of high-profile Hong Kong IPOs will act as a major tailwind to their growth. In the second quarter earnings report, FUTU chairman also announced that FUTU Singapore was granted in-principle approval from the Monetary Authority of Singapore for the Capital Market Services license application. More, he added that they will continue to look for new markets to extend the footprint of their business. Those are great news for FUTU. Another catalyst for future growth is FUTU's cooperation with well-known Chinese companies. One of them is Tencent, which holds a 33% stake in the company. I see this backing of Tencent as a huge factor for future growth. Tencent is the owner of WeChat, the #1 social media and messenger application in China with more than 1 billion users. The application has an in-app e-wallet feature called the WeChat Pay, which is the second most popular e-wallet in China with more than 800 million users. We're talking about crazy numbers. Now, Chinese people cannot live without WeChat and without WeChat Pay. They use those daily, buying products, transferring money, and more. A relatively new feature inside WeChat Pay is WeChat Pay Score, which gives scores based on WeChat Pay's data on users' personal consumption, compliance, and other behavior like fulfilling obligations on time and so on. So WeChat basically knows everything about the users, from their ID and photos to bank account numbers, transactions, consumption behavior, credit scores, and more. Let me remind you that we're talking about more than 800 million users. Another feature in the WeChat application is WeChat Mini Program, allowing widget users to enter third-party applications through the widget application itself. Those mini programs are normally directing at companies in which Tencent has a big stake. For example, a user can enter JD.com application or Pinduoduo application, two companies in which Tencent has a large stake, directly through the widget application. So, in the last quarter earnings report, FUTU also announced that they have started cooperation with Tencent in traffic, content, and cloud areas. They also agreed to explore potential cooperation in fintech-related products and services. Now, I have this long-term vision. It might never be a reality, but I'd like to share it with you. Imagine to yourself that Tencent at some point will implement FUTU's application inside the widget mini program feature, allowing widget users to trade stocks directly through widget application where they already park their money in widget pay. So, of course, as we said, the Chinese government has a very strict control over money transactions from China to overseas accounts. But even if this feature will allow widget users to invest only in A-class Chinese shares through FUTU, this is going to be huge. This is the place to say that I'd love to hear about your thoughts about how you see FUTU's future in a comment below. So now let's move to some financial stats and stock information and see whether this is the right timing to invest in FUTU. The total revenues of FUTU for the second quarter of 2020 were $88.7 million, an increase of almost 165% from the $33.5 million of the second quarter of 2019. The first half of the year, FUTU had total revenues of $152 million, which are an increase of 137% from the $64 million of the first half of 2019. Those revenues were even higher than the 2019 full year revenues of $136 million. As per the net income, it increased by 327% to $30.5 million from around $7 million in the second quarter of 2019. So together with the net income of the first quarter, the total net income for the first half of 2020 was a bit more than $50 million, while the total net income for the full year of 2019 was $21.2 million only. So here comes the question. Is this amazing growth we are observing a sustainable one? Are we going to see the same level of growth in users and paying clients during the coming quarters and years? If we think the trend will continue, something that is very much influenced by the strength of the Chinese and American economies, we can predict around $80 million in income for the second half of the year, and a total of around $130 million for 2020. If the growth trend will continue into 2021, FUTU can reach $160 or even $180 million in revenues, and those numbers start to be really interesting. Today, FUTU is traded at around $30 a share, for a bit more than $4 billion market cap and with a multiple of around 38. If FUTU will reach $180 million in income next year, the multiple can go as low as 23. Strong results next year can make the stock price rise 60 or even 70% from its current levels. Those numbers are my own predictions and they can be totally wrong. And we will have to observe FUTU's growth in the coming quarters closely in order to determine whether the exponential growth that we saw in the last 2 quarters is a sustainable one. All in all, I'm optimistic about FUTU, but only future will tell. I myself currently don't invest in FUTU. Nothing in this video is to make you buy or sell its shares. This is just an introduction to the company. Before you decide to invest in any stock, make sure to make your own research. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. If you like this content, make sure to hit the subscribe button below. Give it a like. It helps the YouTube algorithm. See you in the next video and have a great day.